Okay, I'm going to show you how to restore your headlights for next to nothing. And you won't have to buy any kits or keep buying any kits to do future cars' headlights that you might need to do. You're only going to need a few pieces of sandpaper, 500, 1,200, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 grit, and a decent cutting polish. So the first bit that we're going to start doing is we're going to start sanding it with the 500 to get any kind of imperfections off of the old plastic, and a lot of the yellowing will come off in the sanding process. After that, we're going to move it up to 1200, and then we will buff it out. If you don't have a buffer like I do, you can buy a buffing wheel from Harbor Freight for, I don't know, I want to say $5 or less maybe. And then you just need some kind of cutting polish compound. Once you have the sandpaper and the cutting polish compound, some type of buffing wheel, you can easily do headlights over and over again and never have to worry about paying for it. So let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, we'll start off by moving this headlight out of the way some. Need to get any messy stuff on here. Now, you could use a regular foam, like a scrub brush for doing dishes and stuff like that. I actually have some old mat, foam pad mat, or like yoga mat or something like that. It just needs to be kind of flat so that way it keeps pressure evenly all the way across it. You could use your fingers, but you'll apply more pressure than you want to in certain places with it. So essentially, start off giving it a good rub down. Now certain parts will be worse than others, and you'll have to go back through and you'll have to give that a good rub down to kind of help get anything else off. Now I use the 500 first because that's what will eat through this other stuff like super quick. Help minimize how much rubbing you're actually having to do. Now I don't know if you guys can see this, but you could actually see like the yellowishness coming off of the lens itself. Typically I'll do circular motions, but I will do this motion too. Just back and forth. And you should be able to start seeing how nice it looks from here. You know, how much nicer it's already looking. Not as yellow like the top is still. Not too bad. So there are some spots where you can tell the plastic gets really chewed up. Those are the spots where you're going to have to go over it a little bit more. I just typically try and apply a little bit more pressure when I'm going over these areas. Just to help knock them down a little bit faster. Okay, the front of that's looking pretty good so far. Yeah, there's a little bit of stuff in the plastic. You can see where there's like high spots and low spots in the plastic. That's essentially what you want to get through to have the best finish on your headlights. So, like I said, in those areas, just rub it down a little bit more. Ain't gonna hurt anything. It's not something I would suggest using a regular power tool on to sand it, only to polish it. Because having a tool that rotates makes polishing immensely easier. So now we're going to go ahead and get this top area up here. And don't be shy on the water. You can use as much water as you want. Also, I do prefer pulling the headlights out and doing this versus doing it in the car. You could do it in the car, but I would definitely suggest putting taping down like a plastic bag or something like that. That way all this runoff can end up just running off the car and onto the ground versus, you know, running onto your paint and other stuff like that. The more time you spend on preparation, the better they will look. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and switch it up to the 1200 grit. And it should start to smoothen out and look a lot less foggy. Now going from 500 to 1200 seems kind of like a drastic measure, but as long as you go over it good, you'll get rid of all those 500 sanding marks, and you'll replace it with 1200. So the scratches in the plastic will be a lot finer at that point. Ooh. Yeah, so this right here does make it a lot better though. Definitely make sure you got plenty of water on there. So without water, it will actually start to grip on there really good. You don't really want it. So, as you can see so far, headlight's looking pretty nice. A lot less yellowing. Not all that extra crud on there. Just a little bit hazy from the 1200 sandpaper that we're using. So, that's looking pretty good so far, like I said. At this point, what we'll do is we'll dry off the light, and then we'll go ahead and we'll buzz it out with some of the cutting polish, and then that way you can see how smooth that actually is. Typically, if I'm going to start polishing, I want to make sure everything's dry. Make sure I don't have a bunch of extra stuff sitting all over everything else I'm doing. Go ahead and grab some, I like to use like microfiber cloths on stuff, especially like plastics. It's a lot smoother, a lot more friendly. Talking about, see if we can't show you some of these spots I'm talking about. Okay, so see, like there's like these driplets right there. We can sand through those so those don't show up in the final product. And then also down here on this end, I know you see that. And then there's another one right up over here. Yeah, where you can see it's still got a bit of junk on it. So we're gonna go ahead and sand that down a little bit more. Get that out of there, and get that out of there more. And then we'll start the polishing. Go back to the 500. Try and chew through some of these spots. Some of these spots might not come out as well as you want them to, but most of the blemishes that show up on these plastic lenses is on the outside of the plastic. It's not the inside of the plastic. It's the outside that gets damaged first. go ahead and sand it down a little bit more. I think that it's mostly gone with the 500, so we're going to switch back to the 1200. Now on the 1200, one way to help lessen like the amount of scratches that you're doing is you don't have to press as hard. So by the end of it, what you want to do is you want to just be pretty much just barely rubbing it across there, and that'll help to minimize the scratches that build up in the plastic. Make the scratches smaller. So go ahead and give the rest of the light a good once over. Lots of water involved. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's dry it off some. Take a look at it again. If it's acceptable and it's got most of the nasty stuff off of there, then we'll be good to go. We'll go ahead and we'll start buffing it up. Now, when you sand it down, 1500 grit, it's gonna definitely have some haziness to it. The haziness is the slight imperfections in the plastic. You can see it. Makes it look kind of milky. So the buffing process should end up removing all of those imperfections and making it look nice and glassy again. Okay, so what you need to do is just get some of this cutting compound. A lot of different places make it. This right, the one right here is particular is Chemical Guys. They also do have a Headlight restoration kit. This I don't really suggest doing seamless. But I'm gonna be pretty quick with it, so hopefully it should go well. Get it a good rub down. Essentially how it works is that there's small abrasives in rubbing and cutting compound, which will allow for very minor sanding. And then of course this is just the cutting polish. I mean, you can even step it up another notch and go ahead and polish it. But essentially all we're trying to do is show an easy way of restoring your headlights without paying for a kit every single time. As you can tell, headlights look nice, almost brand new. Thanks. If you like watching this stuff, I'm gonna start my own channel pretty soon. I'm also gonna be showing off more of this and what I'm doing with this, and all the different things that I plan on doing with it. So, if you like the video, please like, subscribe, and give a big thumbs up. Appreciate it. Have a good day.